Rashod Bateman should be ready to go for week 8. He did get in practices this week. His expert consensus ranking is wide receiver 35. And yeah, let me look at the notes. He did play, his 54% of snaps, which was higher than when he left early against Buffalo week 4, but still only 54% of snaps. He finished with 8.2 full point PPR fantasy points, 42 receiving yards, 5 targets. One of the encouraging things about Bateman, though, is that he has a 22% target share on the season and a 27% target rate. So that, like, when he's on the field, he's getting targets, which is encouraging. And he's gotten deep targets. He's wide receiver 21 in average target distance at 13 yards. He's had pretty quality targets. He ranks wide receiver 15 in quality targets. He's 3rd with 19 yards per reception on the season. So he's been primarily used as a deep threat. Problem is, too, because of those deep passes, Rashod Bateman has 6 drops on the season, which could have turned into, bigger fantasy outcomes. But Rashod Bateman so far this year, 2 top 24 weeks, 3 weeks outside of the top 50 in a half PPR. Granted, the last 2 weeks have been due to injury. Still, he has gotten some limited practices in. I am worried that he's still just not going to run enough routes for us to be happy with his fantasy production. So Rashod Bateman, it's a middle of the pack defense. Tampa Bay gives up the 16th most wide receiver points, and his cornerback matchup projected against Carlton Davis is over under for receiving yards, 47.5 receiving yards. That's per Roto Grinders. So I think wide receiver 35. So 47 yards plus 3 catches. We're talking 6-7 fantasy points in a half PPR. That's not going to really get it done for you. I'm probably going to fall outside of wide receiver 34 for Rashod Bateman. And his rankings, his range of rankings go from wide receiver 26 all the way down to wide receiver 59. Okay. In the expert consensus rankings. So, I think I'm going to fall closer to like the wide receiver 40 than wide receiver 30 if I'm, picking a side here. So probably closer to wide receiver 40. And he's only a deeper league flex consideration, I think, even with Mark Andrews. Now, Andrews is trending to play despite the not practicing this week on a short week. He did play last week. We haven't heard of any setbacks, but I'll talk about Mark Andrews here in just a moment.